If you are in a commodity business, making a movie out of your product is the ultimate aim. Barbie is just a toy, right? Which Mattel came up with.
This thing pulls up.
Wow, why didn't they have this in the film? This is
There's a
just so
lift.
I love the lift. This has been perhaps one of the most interesting things, not just from a film perspective. It's a great one-time watch, but the lore around it, right? Or the conversation and the entire scope of the film, that to me has been extremely fascinating. Because we've spoken about, again, the way this episode is shaping up, that we spoke about the big set, then we spoke about the action miniatures, and now we have Ben Shapiro trying to destroy it.
I liked it. I liked the execution, and I also like how various reviewers are taking it very seriously and calling out some weak points in the film. But that's the point of a satire, right? You have to play to stereotypes in order to bring out the insights.
The drum has called Barbie's marketing machine as too powerful to stop. Barbie's marketing budget was more than 150 million, which is actually more than the production cost of the film. And people are saying that Barbie's marketing strategy is one of the best to have ever existed, not just in the history of film, but in the history of brands. And Barbie is a brand. But today, on this very special episode of Creator Deep Dive, we won't be speaking about Barbie's marketing strategy, but we'll be speaking about what people, what creators, what editorial publications have done with the franchise, with the film, because the stuff that people have created, it's bizarre, it's wacky, it's informative, it's a cultural piece, it's a commentary, and everything under the sun, along with some tangential pieces that we cover as well. Welcome to this episode of Creator Deep Dive by Thousand Faces Club. Please do make sure that you've subscribed to our channel because we keep speaking about creators and content and the content that creators create. But before we dive deeper into Barbie and what people have been creating around that, I want to say hi and good evening to Shubham. Shubham, how's it going?
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken. You see, we can say hi, Ken now. We don't have to say hi, Barbie to each other. So I think we can say we're dressed in black, so we're more on the
Same.
Oppenheimer side. But
Yeah.
yes, but how's it going?
Existential angst, just like all the Kens in the world.
Of course. I mean, wow, what a part that was when Ken realizes that there is a world beyond Barbie Land.
Yeah.
But Shubham, you've seen the film. I've seen the film. What a Marvel, pun intended, since I can't say what a Mattel because that doesn't mean much. But what a Marvel this film is, yeah, because it's not just the film anymore, right? And I actually read this article where one of the marketing directors was saying that it has a breadcrumb strategy that they were following essentially throughout the filmmaking process. They were releasing these little bits of the film, right, in terms of BTS footage, in terms of some images from the set and whatnot, and that created the curiosity. And even after the marketing part of the film is done, we see so many creators, Shubham, so many creators on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, which we don't have in India, but so many creators have gotten their spin to this film, what it means to them. And that I think really captures what the Barbie brand is all about, which is again, feeling empowered and transforming yourself and really looking up to another person, which of course in this case is Barbie. So what were your thoughts around the film, Shubham? Like what were your initial feelers that you had after watching it?
I mean, this film has become a movement, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I was just, while I was watching the film, I couldn't help but, thinking of the metaverse.
Hmm.
Imagine watching this film in metaverse when you're inside the Barbie land and you're a part of the film. You're called Ken or Barbie, depending on who you are.
Wow.
So, I mean, for me, it was a good experience, a satire after a long time, a good satire.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
a lot of people, a lot of films take themselves very seriously nowadays. Everything has to be a statement. Yes, there is a statement to Barbie as well.
Sure.
But see, satire is an art form in itself, right?
It is. It is.
I liked it. I liked the execution. And I also like how various reviewers are taking it very seriously and calling out some weak points in the film. But that's the point
Absolutely.
of a satire, right? You
Yeah.
have to play to stereotypes in order to bring out the insights.
That's a very cool point. Play to the stereotype to get out the insights. And some of the insights that we've gotten, Shubham, from the videos around the film, they've also been very fascinating because, again, a mixed bag of what people are saying and what
Yeah.
creators have done. So, how about we actually look at some and react to some of these videos, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think they're super fun and we'll see what it's all about and what the creators have to say. So the first video that we have, Shubham, is actually by Architectural Digest. Again, it's a publication where they do some of my favorite content around, architectural videos, interiors, some hacks, tips and tricks. But interestingly, they did a collaboration or an editorial with Barbie, and it's actually about Margot Robbie taking you inside the Barbie dream house, which is essentially the main place where the entire film sort of happens, or at least the first half takes place. So that I found very interesting. Let's actually have a look at this and how it's been created.
Each other, all the Barbies in their own Barbie dream houses wake up in the morning and they can wave at each other.
This is like the product of so many discussions and
Of
so
course,
many
that's Greta
references,
Gerwig,
and
who's
I can't even tell you
Greta.
the meetings we've had about pink.
We like sat with all these different kinds of pinks and we were like, what is the pink and how do the pinks interact? Because I didn't want it to be so classy that it didn't, like when I was a little girl, I liked the pinkest, brightest things.
The pinkest, brightest things. I think that's such a fascinating line, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're essentially speaking about how the process of creation, right? And I think this is the underrated part of content creation, and this is something that I really want that more creators speak about, which is the process behind your creation, right? Because there's so much that goes into creating videos, be it films, be it short films. So I think
so
this
many
is
subtle
really
things.
interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So Shubham, next up, I want to speak to you about something that you actually referred to at the start of this video. It's about Ken, Ryan Gosling, and it's actually about Ken thinks Ryan Gosling can't live without. Just look at the title, right? Just playing or preaching to the choir that because the Ken has become such a interesting pun and people are using it everywhere. GQ, which is again one of the biggest men's publications out there, they use this in their title. And let's see some of the video and actually react to it.
I'm sure you're all aware of the Coco Chanel rule. Before you leave the house, you take one thing off. The Ken rule is you put 3 things on.
Man, this guy's who knew
Hi,
that
I'm Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
so
If you're
good
Ken,
at comedy.
or you're Ken curious, or you're just Ken
I am
fused
Ken
like I
curious,
was,
yes. We are
here are
Ken
my top 10 Ken essentials to help you tap into your Kenergy.
Wow, Kenergy, Ken Essentials. I'm just like, help me.
Headband.
Ken band.
Preferably lighting.
Headband.
The headband is important for form and function. It differentiates between good Ken and bad Ken. And when you put it on,
Good
it
Ken
sends a
and
clear
bad
signal
Ken. I
that
mean-
it's go time. But it's essential that someone see you put it on. And preferably they see you put it on from behind too. This motion is important. You can also achieve this with a ball cap. You sort of start brim first, eyes cast in shadow, mysterious, and then you pick the moment. And when it is go time, you reverse it. Now you're a loose cannon ready to fire.
Wow. Okay, that was really fascinating.
It's really well written, by the way. This interview, this
It is.
segment.
I have to ask though, is it actually Ryan Gosling who's written it?
No way, man. There's no
Because-
way. The
because
GQ team is really hard at work, and they've done
GQ
it.
team is hard because it's just so effortless for him. I feel like it's just. I just feel like he's just embodying the entire character.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think you're right. I think it is a GQ team. But I love this, right? Like these
Yeah, love
videos are such a great example of creating content
Yep.
around the content. Now we have something very interesting too. So this is actually by Hopescope. I'll just share this tab. Yeah. So this video is by Hopescope, and she says she's bought every Barbie dream house
Wow.
ever. Again, so Barbie dream house. Let's also dial back a bit. We did our first video that we reacted to, Shubham, was about the Barbie dream house, the actual set that was created, where
Yep.
Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig, all of them shot. And obviously now the basic thing here is that if you've seen it on screen, you would actually want to purchase a real life version of it, right? And people have bought it because it's such a big part of the entire lore of Barbie, which is to actually have your own dream house. And Hopescope, 11 days ago, she did a video about buying every Barbie dream house ever. So
She
let's
bought
have-
these now, or she's been buying?
I think she's
since
been
her
buying
childhood?
it. I think she's been buying it for a long time, which is why her collection is
She must
sort
be
of
really old, man.
really
Okay.
old. But let's react to some of it.
Yeah. Barbie fans come in every age and shape.
Progress, as you can see, but I'll get to it one of these days. Back to 1982. Let me introduce you to the Barbie Dream Cottage. This one still had the word dream in it, so I feel like we had to include it in this video. I found this one on eBay. It was only $99. Here it is, the Barbie.
I love it. I love it. It's just so interesting. Let's have a look at 2, 3 more of these interesting houses.
Wow,
Electronic
I
aspect
like
of
this
it. I
one.
wonder if kids were like getting
Look at the
hurt or
colors.
something. This thing pulls up.
Wow, why didn't they have this in the film?
Yeah,
This is
there's a
just so
lift as
lovely.
well in it.
Yeah, I love the lift. It's like the little
I love
winding
lavender,
thing.
by the way.
Oh, it's such a great color. I think I think that's crazy, right? Like this entire thing about, again, it's possible with fewer brands here because you have so many touch points, right? I would say Barbie Dreamhouse is a great touch point, it's a great merch to have, but just the amount of content that you can create. You can actually build your own film with a Barbie Dreamhouse, right? So you
Yeah,
buy
yeah,
this
everything.
and
Yeah.
you use miniatures and you sort of do it. So I think that itself is fascinating. So what were your thoughts on that video, Shubham?
I think, if you are in a commodity business,
Hmm.
I think making a movie out of your product is the ultimate aim.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Barbie is just a toy, right? Which Mattel came up with. Because I
Sure.
recently heard this podcast by Wondery, Business Wars, where
Of
Mattel
course.
versus Hasbro, there was a case study.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, Hasbro has lost this race for me
Hmm.
because Barbie is ultimately a film now, and everything in our pop culture, whatever becomes a film, I
Hmm.
guess that's the pinnacle of that product.
Exactly. No, for sure. And the Mattel Cinematic Universe, if that comes into play, which it will,
Yeah.
because Barbie's been such a huge success, I think.
Imagine a movie on Ken, the origin of Ken.
Yeah, I would love it. I
Yeah.
would totally, totally see it. Or even Ryan Gosling hosting a podcast, actually.
Yep.
But for the next video, Shubham, we've covered a lot of interesting things, positives, I would say. Let's actually speak about something which is slightly more critical, right? This was by a creator called Verily Bitchy, and it's about the plastic feminism of Barbie. First of all, I love the title. The title of this video is extremely fascinating because it speaks about, again, the word the plastic here is, again, it has a double meaning, a double entendre, which is about
Yep.
being fake, and Barbie's obviously made of plastic. So let's watch some of this and some of the criticism here, and we'll probably give a reaction.
It wasn't meant to be frightening regardless of the effect, but the point was to take the controversial song and make it into something inoffensive for their brand, make it fit their marketing of Barbie. Now with the release of the new Barbie film, the song has been sampled by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice. Any of Aqua's original social commentary has long been neutralized by Mattel. When you've got the cash, it's not so difficult to subsume criticism of your own company. You can see it in other media such as Black Mirror satirizing streaming services and their exploitation of workers. This satire, of course, being available only on the very company they seek to satirize. If you hate Netflix, subscribe to Netflix for the best anti-Netflix content. So when Margot Robbie met with Mattel's CEO to discuss developing a Barbie movie, she was very blunt about the fact that a lot of people hate Barbie. She said that the conversation around Barbie's controversies is going to happen either way for Barbie bringing the franchise into the 21st century with careful nods to the sexism of the past,
Wow.
while
Okay.
also
So
appeasing the pop.
bunch of things to pick from here, Shubham. Like
Yep.
essentially, the creator speaking about the whole thing, which is the facade around the marketing and the creation of this character itself. What are your thoughts around? And I do understand that both of us are males are straight males with that gaze, so we're coming from that side, of course, but even from that perspective, right, like regardless, what are your thoughts around the feminism of this film? Do you think it was did you feel put off by them trying too hard to sort of be like, oh, Mattel's doing this or Barbie's doing this? What are some of your thoughts and about this criticism?
I mean, I have mixed feelings at this point
Hmm.
because I understand the economics behind the film because you can't put anyone else except a really good-looking Hollywood actress as the lead, right? I mean, as much as they are talking about I mean, at one point in film she says that I'm not beautiful, I guess,
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, right? Which is untrue. Margot Robbie is really beautiful. So
Correct.
that was a point where I was not sure, like, what do they want to,
Yeah.
achieve by this? Because you want to have your cake and eat it too, right? Because
And it's a pink cake.
yeah, it's a pink cake. You're putting one of the most beautiful women in, as Barbie, and then you're going to that extent by putting a dialogue like, "I'm not beautiful enough." I mean, she
Correct.
is beautiful. So you're kind of like trying to have best of the both worlds. So I agree with this video essay so far. I mean, there is problem, but I would also remind our audience again that it's a satire, and satire's job is to take things to extreme.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, some of the criticism is not fair exactly, but I can see like the filmmakers wanted the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Perfect. Now, Shubham, I have someone very interesting, someone I'm sure many people, many creators know about, many viewers of this channel also know about perhaps. It's none other than Mr. Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro,
Very
the film
controversial.
reviewer.
The film reviewer. And he says this, and I'm going to read out the title here, Shubham. Ben Shapiro destroys the Barbie. Destroys. Look at the focus on the word destroys, which is on all
In
caps.
caps.
Destroys the Barbie movie for 43 minutes. Can you imagine?
Well, he's late
43
because it's
minutes.
already a big hit.
Well, yeah, I think he's also sort of catching on to the thread. So let's look at some of Mr. Shapiro's thoughts and his angles and his views on this.
On fire, piled atop a landfill filled with dog. It is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. On every possible level, it is a horrific movie. The only thing that can be said for this film is production design. Production design is really nice. The costumes are really nice. Also,
so this is so funny because we've spoken about, again, the way this episode is shaping up, that we spoke about the big set, then we spoke about the actual miniatures, and now we have Ben Shapiro trying to destroy it, right? by talking about that. Oh, whatever you watched, it's so basic, right? Why are you all obsessing over it? So I love that. I love that angle.
On the water, and there's no water. Ooh, because like in Barbie house, there's no actual water. Do you get it? And then she drinks, but there's no actual liquid in the actual cup. Oh my God! Because she's a Barbie doll. Oh, I get it. Okay, that's all the jokes. There are no more jokes for the rest of the film. The movie's a shit show. Okay, so conceptually, the movie is a shit show. I want to ask, who's the intended audience for this film? Who's the intended audience for this film? So I'll tell you who the intended audience for this film is, and I can tell two ways. One, the previews on the film, and two, the people in the audience. So the intended audience for this film is moms and their 8-year-old daughters. That's the intended audience for the film. I know because the previews for the film were all kids movies. I'm talking like G or PG rated
but you know what?
films. We're talking like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Trolls.
You know what? I agree with him when he says that the jokes happen in the first, not 45 seconds, but let's say first 45 minutes. Because clearly the first part is more interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I think in the second half of the film, they just and again, big lesson here for creators as well is that your hook should be good, which is with the film. I think they really killed it with the hook in the first few minutes, the first act, as it were. But by the end of it, I think there was so many strands in the film, right? Like you had Will Ferrell's entire thing, those yes men of his, and then you have the whole Ken thing happening. You have the whole weird Barbie scene happening. So a lot of things happened by the end of it, but the first 45 minutes was super fun. When we were just getting introduced to the world and the bizarre and the wackiness and the hi Barbie. I think all of that was just very fascinating. But yes, that was of course Mr. Ben Shapiro. Worth watching his 43 minutes after watching the film, perhaps, or before watching, I guess. I don't know, but it's always very interesting to look at his perspectives. But yes, it does have some good points.
See, it doesn't matter whether you like Ben or not, but he's a decent film reviewer in my mind, in my books. He knows films. He has watched films. He knows how to write films. He's producing films nowadays. So, I mean, worth watching is, and the way he makes fun of things, like he misses out on breath. Like,
I mean, look, she's Barbie, but he's just Ben.
Not Ken.
He's not Ken, he's Ben. Okay. So the next few ones, Shubham, I actually want to show some, I want to show you some short form content, right? And this is basically about how transformation is something that is so core to the Barbie brand, or feeling better about yourself.
Yep. Let's get into the short form.
Yep.
Hi, Ken. You want to go for a ride? Sure, Ken. Jump in.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Life in plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party. I'm a Barbie girl in the fantasy world.
What happened there?
Not your Barbie girl, I'm living in my own world. I am plastic, call me classic. You can't touch me there, you can't touch my body unless I say so. Ain't your Barbie, no.
that I think was pretty intense and pretty interesting, which shows
Yeah.
the entire journey of like, okay, that Barbie, then you're basically fetishizing the entire process of this transformation, and then sort of,
Yeah. And
not,
you know what? I just realized how problematic the lyrics of the original song
yeah,
are. I mean, it just made me realize.
absolutely,
Good on this
absolutely.
girl, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so some pretty interesting. That Clara Dow is the name of the creator who's done that. So again, pretty interesting things, and something which is definitely not accounted in the marketing budget, but she does do it anyway. I also want to quickly mention, Shubham, that it's not just limited to video, right? We also have memes floating around. So right, so we have this "My job is beach," which has become a meme now, and of course you've had the previous memes on Barbie just lying on the ground, or Barbie who's very frustrated and like she's speaking about some very counterintuitive things. But there's also this new meme that's come up, which is about Ken, and now people just say "My job is just," and then people just say whatever the hell they want. So me telling people I'm a social media manager, but this is what they hear instead. So I think it again grabbing moments of your content, your hero piece, which is your film. And again, this is not something that you can ask people to create, but it
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
anyway, and this is organic.
That's the
But it
mark
just
of good
shows
marketing, man. Yeah.
exactly, and
It's a victory for all the marketers in the world.
for sure, that's such a big shot in the arm when you see your film getting these screenshots becoming a cultural trend, and
Yeah.
that has been happening with Barbie, and that has been happening with Ken as a character, with so many
Yeah.
other characters in the film, Alan as well. So a lot of interesting things happening here. We also have this format which has become extremely popular, which is of course the Oppenheimer versus Barbie, the Barbenheimer as it's called. And this was only a sliver of the memes that have sort of appeared. So we had videos, we've had short form content, of course, being a part of it, long form content, memes, threads, everything. So I think in my head, this has been perhaps one of the most interesting things, not just from a film perspective. Again, we mentioned this in our pre-chat as well, that it's a great one-time watch, but the lore around it, right, or the
Yeah.
conversation and the entire scope of the film, that to me has been extremely fascinating. And yeah, any final thoughts for you on the Barbie marketing campaign and some of the creators that we saw today? A very great variety, I would say, because we've had some good things that people spoke about, some negative criticisms, some interesting observations. What were your final thoughts?
I think it's a great conversation starter because a lot of things require, relook, let's say, definition of feminism
Yeah.
and, like about how we look at each other, right? How we
Hmm.
perceive each other's personality, how we talk to each other. There was
Hmm.
a moment in Barbie, in the third act, when Barbie apologizes to Ken
Hmm.
for not treating him well. I
Hmm.
think people are not talking enough about that point
Right.
because Barbie realizes that
Hmm.
a good woman, let's say,
Hmm.
a woman who's not perfect, but she's like just a woman.
Hmm.
She can also admit her mistakes, right?
Hmm.
So I think it's a good starting point, and Mattel, I guess, is going to have a significant effect on the next products by
Oh, for
Mattel,
sure. For sure.
and I'm excited about it because the next generation is going to have other toys, and Mattel
Hmm.
is the leading toy company. So
Yeah.
I'm happy overall. This film is made, and I'm happy about that
Yeah,
fact.
and I think the creators have also made so much around it. So I'm very happy to see that as well.
Yeah.
That's it from this edition of Creator Deep Dive. We tried something different here where we're reacting to so many videos. But you have to tell us in the comment section below. First of all, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. But tell us in the
Yes.
comments as to what your favorite moments were from the entire, not just the Barbie marketing campaign, but from the creators who created content around Barbie. Do you think we missed out on some videos? Perhaps some videos you liked, some videos that you did not like? The comment section is yours. We will see you next week for yet another episode of Creator Deep Dive. I'm Shreevar.
I'm Ken. Sorry, I'm Shubham.
Oh wow, okay, that was completely Shubham had not
Unintentional.
planned that. Yes, that was organic, folks.
Yeah.
But yes, that's been it from our end, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.